Is democracy destroying itself? The paradox of freedom. Too much freedom seems to change into nothing but too much slavery. Plato, Politeia. In this video, you'll learn why too much freedom can lead to tyranny, how free speech is being weaponized to spread misinformation, how to differentiate truth from opinion, what history teaches us about democracy's self-destruction, and most importantly, how you can help save democracy. Sounds dramatic. It is. But stick with me and I promise by the end of this video you'll see the danger and the solution more clearly than ever. Before we begin, a quick ask. If you find this video insightful, please hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment and ring that notification bell. Now let's get into it. The freedom trap. Why too much liberty can lead to tyranny. Picture this. You're on the road. No speed limits. No stop signs, no traffic laws at all. At first it seems great, pure freedom. But within minutes chaos erupts. Accidents everywhere, gridlock, panic. This is what happens when freedom exists without structure. This is the paradox of unregulated freedom. Without order, liberty destroys itself. Democracy is the same. We love the idea of total freedom, everyone having a voice, no restrictions. But when there's no balance, no shared reality, freedom turns into anarchy. And in the midst of chaos, people start craving order. This is where the tyrant steps in. Plato warned us over 2,400 years ago, when democracy collapses under its own weight, people don't fight for more freedom. They beg for control. And history proves him right. The Roman Republic fell because of political infighting and misinformation, leading to the rise of emperors. The Weimar Republic, overwhelmed by economic collapse and propaganda, paving the way for Hitler. And today, the internet has accelerated this cycle. Division, distrust, and a craving for a strong leader to fix it all. Sound familiar? It's not just a theoretical problem. The digital age has made information too accessible. At any moment you can pull up thousands of conflicting sources. Which one is right? Who do you trust? When everyone has a platform, expertise gets drowned out by popularity. Positive versus negative liberty. The Isaiah Berlin perspective. Before we go deeper, let's clarify a crucial concept: positive and negative liberty, as described by philosopher Isaiah Berlin. Negative liberty, the freedom from interference. You can say what you want, believe what you want, and live how you want, so long as no one stops you. Positive liberty, the freedom to achieve personal and societal goals. This often requires structure, education, and institutions that allow people to make meaningful choices. Think of it like this. Negative liberty is like removing all traffic laws, but positive liberty is about designing roads and signals so everyone can actually get to where they need to go safely and efficiently. The paradox? Without a balance, too much negative liberty leads to anarchy, and too much positive liberty can become authoritarian. Today we see both forces pulling democracy apart. Extreme libertarians demand absolute freedom even when it hurts society. Authoritarian figures push for control under the guise of helping the people. Both extremes bring collapse. The key, a structured system that enables real freedom without falling into chaos or control. Free speech versus weaponized speech. How the truth is being drowned out. Let's get one thing straight. Free speech is vital to democracy. But what happens when free speech is used not to debate, but to overwhelm and confuse? Imagine you're in a classroom, trying to learn. But every time the teacher speaks, a group of students just screams over them. You don't get more opinions, you get noise. And in the chaos, truth disappears. That's exactly what's happening today. Misinformation spreads 6 times faster than the truth on social media, according to MIT study. Conspiracy theories flood our feeds, making people distrust real experts. Leaders use alternative facts to twist reality, making truth a matter of opinion instead of, well, fact. Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, famously said, "If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it." Today's politicians don't need secret police to silence dissent. They just need more noise. The more confusion they create, the less people know what to believe. And when people can't tell what's true, they stop resisting. Take a look at history. The Soviet Union used disinformation campaigns to keep people confused and distrustful of foreign influences. McCarthyism in the US turned political opponents into threats based on suspicion alone. Modern authoritarian regimes flood their media with conflicting narratives, so citizens give up on finding the truth altogether. Now, add social media to the mix. Algorithms reward outrage and spread lies faster than facts. A single false claim can reach millions before it's debunked. And when you see the same lie over and over again, you start to believe it. The real danger isn't censorship, it's manipulation. Drowning truth in noise is far more effective than silencing it. Plato warned that in the final days of democracy, demagogues will seize power not through force, but through persuasion. They warp reality. They redefine truth. They silence critics by calling them enemies of freedom. They sell lies as alternative facts. Today, under the banner of free speech, propaganda spreads at lightning speed, lies outpace truth. Extremism flourishes, and in the chaos, the seeds of tyranny are planted. George Orwell once said, "Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 plus 2 makes 4. If that is granted, all else follows." But what happens when people refuse to believe even that? The truth is under attack. And without truth, democracy dies. The cycle of democracies collapse. Plato was no fan of democracy. To him, it was not the end of history, not a triumph of human governance, but a dangerous experiment doomed to fail. Why? Because democracy, in his view, is ruled by desire, not wisdom. The people, eager for comfort, pleasure, and personal gain, elect leaders who tell them what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. Democracy at first flourishes. But here's the paradox. Too much freedom seems to change into nothing but too much slavery. Plato wasn't just guessing when he predicted democracy's downfall. He outlined a political life cycle that repeats throughout history. First, aristocracy, rule by the wise and virtuous philosopher kings. Society values knowledge and discipline. For example, think of the early rule of figures like Marcus Aurelius in Rome. A philosopher king in practice, he prioritized wisdom, discipline, and the well-being of his people over personal gain. However, such a system relies on the assumption that rulers will always be virtuous, which history has proven to be rare. Second, democracy, rule by the ambitious military elite. Honor and strength replace wisdom as guiding principles. For example, Sparta, where warriors ruled with an iron grip. While order and discipline were maintained, the lack of adaptability and critical thought led to its decline. Third, oligarchy, rule by the rich. Wealth determines power, leading to corruption and inequality. The world today provides countless examples. Governments where wealth dictates policy, where corporations influence elections, and where economic disparity grows unchecked. The United States, with its billionaire-backed political campaigns and growing wealth gap, is a clear illustration of oligarchic influence at play. Fourth, democracy, ruled by the people, but easily manipulated by emotion rather than reason. Without wisdom or discipline, democracy devolves into chaos as citizens become obsessed with absolute freedom, rejecting authority, expertise, and laws in favor of their own desires. And finally, tyranny. People, exhausted by instability, turn to a strongman who promises order. The problem: democracy is the most fragile stage. Because when too much freedom turns into chaos, people willingly trade their liberty for security. And today, we are accelerating through these stages faster than ever before. How to differentiate truth from opinion, and why it matters. One of the biggest challenges today is distinguishing truth from mere opinion, especially when misinformation spreads so easily. Here's how to cut through the noise. Imagine this. You step outside and you say, "It's cold." That's a personal experience, it's how you feel. But then someone checks a thermometer and says, "It's 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit." That's an objective fact. So what's the difference? Facts can be measured, tested, and verified. Temperature, historical events, scientific data. Opinions are personal judgments, interpretations, or feelings. Whether 10 degrees Celsius feels cold to you is subjective. Now apply this to politics. Fact: an election was reviewed by multiple courts and found to be secure. Opinion: the election was stolen without verified evidence. Fact: climate change is supported by thousands of peer-reviewed studies. Opinion: I don't believe in climate change, a personal stance, not data-based. Why this matters. A society that relies on personal opinions instead of objective truth is doomed to collapse. Why? Because opinions vary endlessly, and without a shared foundation of truth, there is no way to make decisions that work for everyone. Consider a building. If every architect has their own opinion about how gravity works, the building collapses. If every doctor has their own opinion about how the human body functions, medicine falls apart. Now apply this to democracy. If political leaders, the media, and the public start treating facts as negotiable, then laws, justice, and governance become nothing more than a battle of who shouts the loudest. Without truth, democracy turns into chaos. To spot the truth, ask yourself, can this be measured or tested? Would this be true regardless of who says it? Are there multiple independent sources confirming it? Does it rely on emotion instead of evidence? Be skeptical. How to save democracy. 5 things you can do right now. Feeling helpless? Don't. Democracy isn't just a government system, it's an ongoing commitment. And if enough people fight for it, it survives. Here's what you can do starting today. First, question everything. Wisely. Skepticism is good, but blind doubt is just another tool of manipulation. If someone says don't trust the media, ask them, who should I trust? If they can't give a solid answer, they're leading you away from truth, not toward it. Second, defend truth, not just free speech. Free speech is a right, but facts matter more. If we prioritize volume over accuracy, democracy drowns in lies. Third, recognize demagogues. If a leader constantly stokes fear, blames one group for everything, or says they alone can fix things, run. Plato, Orwell, Arendt, they all warned us about these types. Fourth, engage with different perspectives. Stop living in an echo chamber. Debate, listen, disagree respectfully. Democracy thrives on discussion, not division. Fifth, reject easy answers. Tyranny often arrives disguised as convenience. If a leader promises to take away all your worries, ask yourself, at what cost? Sixth, educate the next generation. Plato believed democracy's survival depended on education. If we don't teach its values, we won't keep them. Final thought. Is democracy doomed? Maybe. But history is not destiny, and the future is unwritten. Democracy survives only if enough people think critically, question power, and fight for truth. So I leave you with one question. Will you defend it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. And if you want more deep dives into philosophy and how it helps us in our lives, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Help us grow. Share this video, tell a friend, or just send good vibes our way. Until next time, act deliberately. Think universally. The future depends on it.